Welcome back to School Curriculum and Module 4, where we are learning about what it takes really to lead change in today's schools. We have discussed how principals create a shared vision and how principals create positive cultures, how principals lead an effective instructional program. And now let's examine, as a way of review, just what leading adults through change really means. We're going to review what theorists are saying, and then we will reflect on our own views about being a change agent in today's challenging schools. Heifetz writes in Leadership Without Easy Answers that issues society faces require leadership that challenges us to confront, here's his quote, problems for which there are no simple, painless solutions. Problems that require us to learn new ways to lead. Making progress on these problems demands not just someone who provides answers from on high, but someone who changes our attitudes, behavior, and values. In other words, the prevailing theories of the 1970s and 1980s and even 90s are now manifested in new theories of leadership. Writers during the 70s and 80s emphasized that effective leaders needed to follow certain prescribed steps to ensure success. During that same era, textbooks in leadership preparation programs listed various ways to become a successful leader, such as using site-based management, developing a school mission, becoming an instructional leader, and so on. New challenges of the 21st century, however, demand innovation and discovery instead of ready-made answers. Peter Senge in The Fifth Discipline speaks of understanding the importance of looking inward before attempting to lead others. He writes, "The discipline starts with turning the mirror inward, learning to unearth our internal pictures of the world, to bring them to the surface and hold them rigorously to scrutiny. It also includes the ability to carry on learningful conversations that balance inquiry and advocacy, where people expose their own thinking effectively and make that thinking open to the influence of others." In other words, leaders of today's schools, with all the challenges that they face, must understand how people think. But before they can do that, they have to carefully examine their own views of the world, their own biases, their own shaded ways of seeing things. And everyone needs to be able to open up and discuss all of this in a trusting environment. When you can do this, and when you can create a true learning community of adults, then you will understand the intricacies of what psychologists call andragogy, which is the adult version of pedagogy. When adults have to learn, they have to do it through open, trusting conversations. And then you will be able to inspire them to make the changes needed. In following up with the idea of the new leadership theory, we need to remember that leadership focuses today on the human side of schools and the importance of establishing relationships that are conducive to shared learning. The new administrator must learn to learn, so to speak, rather than attempting to take charge or set the tone for the school or the district. Effective leaders must find a way to resonate with and embrace their constituencies. In other words, they must strike a chord of understanding and connection with all the stakeholders in the school community. Thomas Sergiovanni is a writer who writes a great deal about the importance of understanding relationship, and he explains the importance of a values orientation in his book, Moral Leadership. And then you can read his quote here. "We need to be in touch with our basic values before we can connect with others." In the next slide, we're thinking about what Evans writes about, how that veteran teachers perceive change in a way that we might not expect. He compares their reactions to change as being similar to those of people suffering grief and loss. We all have seen many veteran teachers who resist change, and Evan's ideas make sense. These teachers have spent their days doing the same things and thinking the same thoughts about learning for many years. So asking them to leave all that behind truly does leave them with a sense of grief and loss. And the sooner a good leader acknowledges those feelings, the sooner they will be able to help those teachers move ahead and take the small steps forward toward effective change. The next slide simply summarizes for you the keys to effective leadership that we've been discussing. Read those for yourself and consider how you have experienced these in your experiences as a teacher with an effective leader or with a leader who is less than effective.